Hello, friends. Welcome to yet another episode of Tea Talk with Owen. My name is Owen Fernandez, and I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. Today is the 9th of September 2021. Now, in just about 2 days from now, we will have the 20th anniversary of the tragic episode that took place in the US, which we call the September 11th attacks. Friends, I remember very distinctly that I was watching the entire show unfold live on CNN. I also saw those horrific pictures of smoke as the Twin Towers just crashed to rubbles. And for me personally, life changed. Traveling was no longer the same. In fact, if you look 20 years behind or in the past, there are so many things that have taken place. It all started with the war in Iraq, and then the Al Qaeda, the Taliban. And if you go a little bit towards the recent past, we know the challenges in Syria. We know the huge what you call a difference those attacks made in the lives of millions and millions of people all across the globe. And to add fuel to fire, we were suddenly having this pandemic called COVID 19 that came out from nowhere and resulted in the entire world coming to a standstill. And we are still bearing the effects, and God knows what's in store for us. So, in the midst of all these challenges, this fear, this uncertainty, this disturbance, the noise, I've selected a topic which could be of immense importance to all those who are listening to me today. The topic I have chosen for today is how to make time for solitude. Friends, we all need solitude desperately. We need time for ourselves. Now, even though the concept of practicing solitude sounds exciting, when we try to implement it, we find it difficult because the uncertainty and busyness of our lives keep us or tend to keep us occupied. We tend to rationalize our thoughts by saying that if we stay busy, we might be able to we might be able to have control of the things that are happening around us. That's far away from the truth. In order to deal with this feeling of uncertainty, most of us tend to cling to comforts and distractions. We then try to procrastinate and put off habits we want to form. Friends, you and I know we are constantly busy. I see a lot of people, either with their gadgets, talking to somebody, watching something, or even messaging. And even if we get a little downtime in between, we still are attracted to pick up our phones or jump onto our favorite video site, whether it's Netflix or whatever you can call it, to watch something. So it's my earnest desire that in this episode, I will try to share some massive benefits of solitude, and of course, some ways how to make time for it. So, friends, if you're on the call, grab a cup of tea or coffee, take a comfortable seat, relax as we go deeper into this topic, how to make time for solitude. So, in the meantime, if you're on the call, please let us know in the chat box where you are watching from. Again, I repeat, today is the 9th of September 2021. So, I see a good friend of mine, Peter. Thanks for showing up, Peter, all the time. Okay, so let's get going. Friends, as usual, I would like to start with the quote, and this time it's coming from Abhijit Naskar. He says that the best lessons in life are learned in silence and solitude. When I was preparing for this episode, this particular quote really touched me. Now, as you know, I'm a father, I'm a teacher, I'm a husband, with two kids. I don't even understand, how people with three, four, five, six, seven kids manage. Do they have any time for themselves? Now, I was myself born into a family of five. We were five siblings, and I saw my mother relentlessly working from morning to evening. And of course, she was very particular about a small short nap time in the afternoon. Abhijit says the best lessons in life are learned in silence and solitude. Now, here, I would like to bring into context the difference of being alone versus loneliness. Friends, we are talking about solitude, intentional solitude, not something that you can suffer from. Loneliness is basically a disorder. So it is important to remember that being alone and loneliness are two very different things. Loneliness involves being isolated despite wanting social connections. I repeat, loneliness involves being isolated despite wanting social connections. Whereas being alone means taking time off intentionally for yourself between regular social interactions. So I hope I'm making myself pretty clear. Now, friends, while there is wealth of research pointing to the psychological downsides of loneliness and social isolation, on the other side, there is an increasing amount of evidence suggesting that a certain amount of quality time alone is critical to our well being. Friends, some things are better off being done by yourself alone, without distractions, without the opinions of others, or even for that matter, without any influence from any other person. Even though people sometimes fear seclusion, research has shown that many people actually seek and prefer solitude. Just think about it. Now, here you need to notice that your desire for alone time is heavily influenced by your overall personality. Now, my profession, I'm a psychometric analyst. I know a lot about personalities. So, your individual preference is very important in determining whether being alone has a positive effect or a negative effect on your well being. Now, we all know about extroverts and introverts. Now, we know that extroverts often dislike being alone, whereas introverts tend to prefer it. Now, just because you tend to be introverted does not mean that you want to be alone all the time. Bear that in mind. Even the most introverted of people need support, need a network, and need some social connections. On the other side, being an extrovert doesn't mean that you aren't capable of enjoying your own company. Even if you naturally seek the company of a crowd, you can learn how to enjoy a little time to yourself now and then. So with this in mind, also bearing the fact that COVID has changed the way we look and the way we live. This COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated both the challenges of loneliness and a lack of solitary time. Where many people have struggled with feelings of isolation and loneliness, others face the challenges of suddenly spending a great deal of time in close quarters with their family members and roommates, some feeling very much discomforted and even irritating. So let's proceed to know the immense benefits of solitude. Friends, if you're for the first time on this call, let me tell you that we are on episode 37. We are on episode 38, in fact, sorry. All the previous 37 episodes are uploaded on my YouTube channel. Feel free to go there and find out which episode is best related to you at this point of time. So as I said, let's proceed in knowing the immense benefits of solitude. Now, according to Amy Morin, a former contributor to Forbes magazine and also a psychotherapist and an international best-selling mental strength author, she says that there are 7 science-backed reasons you should spend more time alone. I see Dr. Tanveer Abir out here. Welcome. There are 7 science-backed reasons that you should spend time alone. Now, one of the reasons is that alone time increases empathy. Friends, when you spend time with a certain circle of your friends or your coworkers, you develop a we versus them mentality. We versus them. Research suggests that a certain amount of alone time can actually help you have greater empathy for the people around you. Think about it. Spending time alone helps you develop more compassion for people who may not fit in your inner circle. In fact, friends, in one study, researchers found out that when teenagers went 5 days without communication devices, they improved their ability to interpret emotions and facial expressions. Wow. Think about it. A certain amount of solitude time increases your empathy. Secondly, solitude time increases productivity. Now, although so many offices have started creating open floor plans, the open offices, so everyone can communicate more easily, studies show that being surrounded by people kills productivity because there is too much of noise, too much of distractions. It has also been found out that people perform better when they have little privacy for themselves so that they can concentrate and they can focus. No wonder being born in a family of five siblings, I made it a point to get up early in the morning. My mother knows about it, to get up early in the morning when the rest are all fast asleep. I used to pick up my books and study for my university and my exams. Quiet time, alone by myself, before the world gets up. And it was very productive. So solitude increases productivity. The third finding is that solitude sparks creativity. Think about it. No wonder there is a reason a lot of authors, a lot of artists want to go to a secluded place in the woods or a private studio to work. Being alone with your thoughts gives your brain a chance to wander, which can help you become more creative. Think about it. While in quarantine, Shakespeare wrote King Lear. While in quarantine, Newton developed the theory of calculus and discovered gravity as well. The Apostle Paul, who has written a lot of stuff in the New Testament, he wrote most of his letters while he was confined on the island of Patmos. And finally, most of us can relate. John Bunyan wrote Pilgrim's Progress, a great piece of literature, a great piece of work while in prison. Solitude, friends, spark creativity. Number four, being alone can help you build mental strength. Agreed, we are social creatures and it is important for us to have strong connections with other people. But solitude may just be as important. Studies show the ability to tolerate alone time has been linked to increased happiness as well. Now, apart from increased happiness, it is also shown to give better life satisfaction and improved stress management. It's a breather. People who enjoy alone time experience less depression. Research finding number five has shown that solitude may reduce behavioral problems in kids. I remember my wife, once in a week, she shouts out from the kitchen, "Hey, children, please allow me to be alone for a little time. Please allow some time for myself." When you carve some solitude in your schedule to show your children that being alone is a healthy thing to do, they too will pick up because people do what people see. And research shows kids who learn to by themselves find certain solitary time are better behaved than other children. So if there are parents listening to me, be a good role model and teach solitary skills to your children early. Solitude may reduce behavioral problems in kids. Research finding number 6: being alone gives you an opportunity to plan your life. As I said, friends, we are surrounded by a lot of noise. Add to the fact that social media also creates a lot of noise. So it means to say that we are hearing a lot of voices. Most people spend a lot of time planning weddings and vacations, but never plan how to get the most of life. Spending time alone can give you a chance to ensure there is a purpose to all of your hustling and bustling. A quiet space, a little amount of quiet time provides an opportunity to think about your goals, your progress, and changes you want to make in your life. And the final benefit that is coming from research says that solitude helps you know yourself. Friends, remember one thing: the person that you will spend the most time with in your life is you. Solitude helps you know yourself. Being alone helps you become more comfortable in your own skin. When you are by yourself, you can make choices, make decisions without outside influences. And that will help you develop more insight into who you are as a person. A being is also very, very important to our doing. Though the world focuses on our doing, if what you do is not what who you are, believe me, there is a problem of alignment and you will never be satisfied and never have a fulfilled life. So look at the large scale benefits backed by research of solitudes. Solitude helps you know yourself. So if there is anybody on the call that can relate to what I'm talking about and wants to add a couple of few thoughts, feel free. The chat box is for that. Just go to the chat box, write down from where you are, and just contribute, because this endeavor is collective learning. So, how to make time for solitude? Friends, solitude frees the mind up from all distractions of everyday life and allows us to focus completely on one thing. We are so used to multitasking because the pressure of time on life tells us to wear a lot of different hats. But when you are having some time for yourself, as I said before, it allows our brain to think outside the box and come up with unique, extraordinary solutions to ordinary problems. Being alone or being in solitude improves our mental health to a great extent when it is voluntary, when it is intentional. You're making some space, you're making some time for yourself. It is also important that we feel like we can return to our social world whenever we like. It's just not taking, a forever walk in the forest or just escaping from life and living in some sort of, monastery or whatever it is. So take a break from social media. We are also hooked to our phones and our gadgets and are more connected with those gadgets and with people than with ourselves. We are in a race to please others and feel appreciated. We're looking out for likes and how many people saw the impact of our upload, or are the pictures that we shared. Instead, try taking a break from social media. It will give you more time to focus on yourself. It's all about self care. It's not selfishness, it's self care. And in doing so, you don't have the pressure of comparing your life with that of others. In the previous episode, I mentioned about unplugging, intentionally taking yourself out. Take a break from social media. Now, if you cannot take a break for the entire day or two or even a week, why don't you be without the influence of social media for some time during your day and allocate that time to yourself? As I said, it's easier to say than do, but all things are possible for those who intentionally work out and plan the activities of the day. Take a break from social media. Secondly, pick a time. If we consciously make time to practice solitude, that becomes a routine. And maybe we should let people know, even our close friends and family members, that this time is a time for you. Let them know that we do not want to be disturbed during that time. And I guess when you're very strong and determined, people will respect that. Pick a time. For me, it's mornings. Point number three, plan something. Some of us are so social that we are not comfortable spending time alone. And I can immediately recollect a few people that I know. Friends, it is advised that if we plan, it will be very helpful for us. For example, this could include time for relaxation, time for reading a book, time for exploring your favorite hobby, time for a prayer time, some sort of reflection. The best alone time often happens when you set aside a specific period to be by yourself. It shouldn't be forced isolation that leaves you feeling withdrawn or antisocial. Set aside an evening or a weekend for a refreshing me time. Now I know many of you on the call might say, "Oh, Owen, it's so difficult, it's so difficult." As I said, nothing in life is easy. But life cannot be so brutally bad that it would not give you space to breathe, to re-energize yourself, to renew yourself so that you can restart again. Reflect, renew, reset. Plan something. Take a walk, or for those who like cycling, bicycle, or for those who like hiking, hike. Spending time outdoors by itself is very relaxing as it connects us with nature. Research has found out that if we are feeling worked up and stifled from too much social interaction, or for that matter, too much life pressure or work pressure, spending a little time outdoors by ourselves and enjoying a change of scenery can have a very restorative effect. And this is backed by research as well. Researchers suggest that being alone in nature can help people focus their priorities, gain, in fact, a greater appreciation for relationships and improve future goal setting. So, just in case if you're having an argument with your loved one or there is a difference of opinion, and if somebody wants to take a break and be by himself or herself, let me tell you, allow them to be. For me, if I'm stressed and I'm overwhelmed, I always look out for an opportunity to just take a walk around the society or the building that I live. And if at all I have a little more time to my disposal, okay, I take a walk in a forest or in a park. And if it's morning, great. You can even hear the beautiful chirping of birds and you can smell the freshness of the air. Now, just in case if you do hike alone, take all necessary safety precautions. While the point is to be by yourself, make sure someone knows where you will be. And you should always have the ability to contact the outside world if needed, just in case of an emergency. Take a walk, bicycle, or even hike, but see that you have time for yourself. Now, even if you bicycle, as I did a couple of weeks ago with my daughter for the very first time this summer, I actually came to know that I am not in good condition. Yes, we did bicycling for 20, 21 kilometers, and my little daughter was even, full of energy. I came to know that I should be doing it more often and I should take care of myself more often, especially when it comes to exercise and maintaining your body. As I said, the body will give back to you what you give back to the body. And finally, friends, last but not least, learn to value solitude. In an ever connected world that we often find ourselves, there is a tendency for us to devalue the importance of being alone. We just get too busy. It is important to remember the importance of taking time to just spend with ourselves and with our thoughts. The key is to engage in activities that allow you to feel a sense of inner solitude. Now, for some people, I know they can achieve this feeling while listening to music or reading a book, while others might require the quiet, the quietness of a place that gives them peace, or a peaceful session of meditation. As I said, to each his own, but do it intentionally. Make it an effort to spend time with yourself. As I said before, the person that you are going to spend a lot of time with in this life is yourself. Find what works for you, and then make sure that you have regular moments where you can retreat to this quiet mental space. Learn to value solitude. Learn to value to spend some time with yourself without being disturbed. So, in summary, I've mentioned 5 ways where you can find time for solitude. Take a break from social media, unplug from anything that's going to disrupt or distract you. Pick a specific time and make it a routine, and even be free to tell others about it. I'm sure people might even learn from you because it's definitely going to benefit. Plan something, take a walk, go for a bicycle ride, or even go for a hike. And finally, learn to value solitude. In closing, friends, I've got this to share. We need solitude because when we are alone, we are free from obligations. We don't need to put on a show, and we can hear our own thoughts. There is something called the whisper of the soul. Most of the time, in the business of life and in the busyness of life, we fail to hear the little whispers from our spirit being asking us to slow down. Choosing to be alone at times can be rejuvenating, but the important variables are that it is something you choose and something you enjoy. Everything is difficult at the start, friends. So initially, we might find it difficult to spend some time with ourselves. I understand, I agree. But once we start enjoying our own company, we may find that this alone time helps us feel renewed, re energized, and inspired when we come back to our social circles or to our normal lives. So, thanks for watching. You will find the references of what has been shared in this episode today at the end of this slides. Feel free to use them further for your personal growth. Again, I mentioned this. Friends, if you like this episode, please comment and share. Also, you could go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. There you will find this video as well as many other videos that could actually help you. Remember, the win is always within you. I, Owen Fernandez, am here to help you be victorious. I believe in you, and together we can. So stay safe, stay well. See you next week on yet another episode of Tea Time with Owen.